Okay, we're going to start by downloading the data, the eL3mPRO data from the Plant Village website. So first we go to plantvillage.psu.edu and you must sign in the top right corner. So click sign in, and then you enter your admin account. So I'm entering the admin account for Iran here. And now you can see you're logged in as DLIO Iran. If we click on the More menu on the top right and select Locus Map, the second one, Locus Map. And here you'll see the window of where we'll see the data on the left side listed and shown on the map on the right side. So on the far left hand side here, we click Analytics. So one tap, and you want to select the second item, Pro Locust Surveys. So we tap on that. And now we see all of the eL3mPRO data in Iran for this period, as you can see in the date box from the 12th to the 14th of May. Now we want to change this date period by simply clicking in it, and we want to select from the 26th. So you can just type 26th of April, so that's 04, to the 12th of May. So we just change this number to 12. And now you see 26th of April to 12th of May in the calendar, and you see it also at the bottom, 26/4 to 12/5. And we click Apply. In just a second, you will see now a list of all of the eL3mPRO data for that period. You see the list on the left side, and you see all the points on the map on the right hand side. Okay. Now at this point we want to export this data as a CSV file, which then we will check for duplicates before importing into Ramses. So I tap on the export button here, and the right hand side the down arrow, and I'm going to choose filtered surveys with the tab. So filtered surveys, and it's now collecting that data into a CSV file, and it's going to ask you where you want to save it on your laptop. So I choose from my left hand side the shortcut Ramses, and then you can see in my list there I have eL3mP. P is for Pro Data, as a folder. So I'm going to tap that folder, and now it's going to save the CSV file in this folder. But I want to change the name of the file to indicate the date. So I will type IRD for Iran, and then 22 for the year, 04 for April, 26 for the day of April, an underscore, and I do the same for the end date, which is 22/05/12. So this tells me that the date is for Iran from the year 2022, the month of April, which is 4, and the day of April, which is 26, up until the 12th of May 2022. And you see the extension is .csv, so this is a CSV file. So when that looks okay to you, then you tap Save. And now it has downloaded that file from Plant Village, has given it that name, and saved it on your laptop. Okay. Now at this point we're finished with the Plant Village website, so we can tap the top left corner here, Plant Village. Tap on your profile, DLIOR Iran, and tap on the button that says Log Out. Okay, and we're finished with the Plant Village. So I'm going to quit my Safari. I'm done with that. Okay. Okay, now I need to go and find that CSV file on my laptop. So I click on my hard disk, my shortcut Ramses. Here's my eL3mP data folder, and here's the file that I've just saved, IRN 220426 _220412.csv. Okay, now I'm going to open that file just by double tapping it. And it opens automatically in the Numbers app, okay? You see the Numbers app here at the top. I'm just going to resize my window a little bit, okay? So I can see most of it. Okay, now I'm going to apply a number of steps to this file to find and to remove the duplicate data records. Okay, so please, we have to follow this very carefully. First of all, I'm just going to give my more space. I'm going to go to the end of the file here, scroll all the way to the end, okay? And you see the last column here, and just tap above it, and I see it's named DJ. And I'm going to add one more column to the right of that. So I just tap this icon, and I have a new column called DK, okay? And I'm going to click in the header cell, the shaded cell, and I'm going to call that DUP for duplicate. And then I press return. Okay? Now, in this first cell that is highlighted in the first row of duplicate, I'm going to type a formula, okay? And I do that by first typing the equal sign, which brings up the formula box, and then the name of the formula, which is called COUNTIF, COUNTIF, okay? And you see this here written COUNTIF, okay? Now I'm going to tap on this gray COUNTIF button, okay? And here it tells me I need to enter two values, something called the test array and something called the condition. So I'm going to tap on the test array, one tap, okay? And then I'm going to scroll over to column CJ. CJ, you see this is where all the coordinates are. And I'm going to tap once on that CJ at the top, okay? And it's now filled that in for my data array. Now I'm going to come back to the formula. I'm going to tap on condition. You see now it's a little bit darker gray. And I'm going to then tap on the first cell in the CJ column, okay, which is CJ2 in the 2 row here. You can see that, okay? I'm going to tap once on that, and it turns orange, and it has completed this in the formula. So now my formula says COUNTIF, then you see the report locations coordinates column indicated, and the CJ2 cell indicated. So once your formula looks like this, you can tap the green check icon. So I'm going to tap that once, okay? And it goes back to my dupe column to the first cell, okay? Now I want to copy this formula to all the other rows in the table. So I'm simply going to press Command C, okay, at this point. And then I'm going to tap once the top of the column, DK, so it's all highlighted. And then I'm going to press Command V on the keyboard to paste it, Command V, and it pastes this, okay? And you see, unfortunately, I've lost the name of my column. It says now it's 0, so I'm going to come back to the header, and I'm going to retype in DUP. Okay? Okay, what this is telling us, these numbers is telling us, is if there's a 1 in the row, it means that this is not a duplicate. There's only one record with those coordinate values. But if there's a number greater than 1, like 3 or 2, it means that you have more than one of those records with those same coordinates, what we call duplicates. Okay, now I want to filter this table to show me only those records that have duplicates. Okay, so I'm going to do this by clicking on the Organize tab in the top right. Okay, and in the Organize tab you see Filter here on the right hand side. Filter. I'm going to tap once on the filter, and I'm going to, from the pull down menu here, add a filter. I'm going to select my dupe column. So way down at the end, you have to scroll down and you see dupe at the bottom. So when you see dupe at the bottom, tap once. So now my dupe column is selected. And on the left-hand side, I'm going to tap on number. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to tap on greater than. And then in the box, I'm going to enter the value 1. And then I press enter on the keyboard. Okay. And now I can close my organize window here up at the top right by tapping on organize. And now you see in the dupe column only those values that are greater than 1. So these are the records now that are duplicates. Okay. Now, because our data is very big, we have so many columns, we don't need to see all of those columns at the moment. We want to hide some of those columns to help us look at this duplicate data. So the way to do this is you select, for example, column C at the top here, and let's scroll to perhaps let's say to the CJ column, to CI, okay? And in fact, I'm going to go just a bit before that to CG, so just before the area surveyed in hectares, okay? So now you see all of that in the green. When you see that, you see the down arrow, okay? I'm going to tap that down arrow, and I'm going to say hide selected columns, okay? Hide selected columns. I'm going to tap that once, and so now you see those columns are hidden here. So we have the date and the time, and then we have the area surveyed. Now we can see the coordinates. Okay. There's other columns I would like to hide after some of this information. So I'm going to select, for example, column CM, and I'm going to go all the way to the N and select column DJ. Okay, so shift and select the DJ. Okay, that's very important. If you don't use the shift, then only the DJ will be highlighted. Okay, so remember, when you're selecting multiple columns, you first select the first column, then you hold the shift key down and you select the last column that you want in your selection. Then again, you see the right down arrow, tap on it and say hide selected columns. Okay, so now we didn't delete any of these columns, we just hid them. Okay, you can see they're hidden. So we have a column CK, CL, and then DK. So all the columns between CL and DK are hidden. Okay, that's fine for now. So here we see all of our duplicate reports. Okay, now if we're to sort these by the coordinates, you will clearly see them. So if I select the whole table by tapping the circle up here to the left of A, okay, I come back to my Organize button, click on Organize, click on the Sort, and I say I'm going to sort the entire table, and I must choose the column I want to sort it on, which is the report location coordinates. Okay, I tap on this once, okay, and then when that is done, you see it has been sorted. I can again tap the Organize button to get rid of that pane. Okay, now you can see listed here those, and it's very clear, the duplicate data. So let's take a look at the first two rows. Here we have the same date, the 9th of May. Okay, a little bit different times, a little bit different areas surveyed, but the coordinates are exactly the same. You can look at the numbers, and an easy way to do is look at the length of these two numbers. You see they're exactly lined up, so it means they're the same as well. Okay, you see the name is a little bit different. So here we have an issue. We have an issue that we have a little bit different data in terms of 90 hectares versus 70 hectares surveyed, and a little bit different name, but exactly at the same location on the same day and almost the same time. So this is duplicate data, okay? Now, your job is to choose which of these two records you want to keep, okay? And which one you want to delete. So let's say you want to keep the second one and delete the first one because it's duplicate. So highlight the first record by tapping in the row number on the left side once. It turns green and you see the row is selected, okay? Now, with either clicking the down arrow here on the right side or a two-finger tap, it's the same, you can say delete row. Now, when I select delete row, watch what happens to that second record. It will disappear because it's no longer a duplicate record, okay? So you haven't deleted the second record. You've only deleted the first record, which is the actual duplicate. So here we go. I delete the row, and the second record you see is gone, okay? And now we continue with the remainder of the records to do the same, okay? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do again, tap, delete, okay? Here's another one, tap, delete. Now, don't worry about these numbers on the left-hand side. Sometimes it will change and sometimes it will not change, okay? But what I am doing is I'm deleting the first duplicate of those records. So tap, delete, okay? Tap, delete. And I must continue doing this until I reach the bottom of the table, okay? Most of these records are only a single duplicate, but look at this record here. Here we have a record, and you see the number here, 7 duplicates. And you can see those coordinates, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 duplicates at exactly the same place, okay? Some of them are a little bit different time. But this makes no sense, does it? How can you be at exactly the same place, one day and then again the next day? So something is wrong here, okay? So again, we consider this to be duplicate data, okay? So same method, select the record, tap, delete row, okay? And now you see the number has changed to 6 because I've deleted one of those duplicates. I do it again, the number changes to 5 at that location. Again, the number in the dupe column changes to 4, okay? Again, and I'm just going to keep doing this, okay, until I get rid of all of those duplicates, okay? So bear with me, this will take a little bit of time because you see there's a lot of duplicates, okay? This may be partly due to the user in the field, but it may also be partly due to the way that the data, the report might have been sent twice by the app or more than 2 times by the app, okay? But the most important point is that, as you know, it's impossible to have data on the same day or even the previous day from exactly the same GPS location. And I mean exactly, I mean to the meter. So even if you go back to that same place the next day, it's very unlikely you're going to stand exactly in the same spot where you sent the data the previous day. So this is our main rule for saying what is duplicate and what is not duplicate. Okay, you see I'm just continuing as I'm talking to you by tap on the row and then delete each duplicate data. Okay. Now, why do we want to get rid of duplicate data? Because if there's duplicate data in the Ramses, then it can mean, of course, that there's double the number of locusts that are actually present especially when that duplicate data is about locust presence, okay? If it's about control, it would mean that double the number of hectares have been treated than were actually treated in reality. So this is why we want to take the effort to get rid of the duplicate data. Now, we could do the same thing in the Ramses app, but it's much more difficult and takes a much longer time. So it's much faster to do it here in the CSV app, in the numbers app on the CSV file before you add it into Ramses, okay? So here we go. It's still taking the time. So, but you must work very carefully on the CSV file. You don't want to make any mistakes because that would risk losing some data. Okay. Now, because we're looking at a very large file of data, I believe it had a high number of records because it's for about 2 weeks. It takes a bit longer. So this is why I suggest that you do this every day or every couple of days so you don't accumulate a large number of data and then it takes you a long time, like now, that we're now trying to process this. Okay, so that's very important. You as an information officer should be managing your data every day. This is part of your daily job, 5 days a week. Of course, when you come back from the weekend, you have a little bit of extra data probably. If you can do this, then you will be on top of the data and you will not have a backlog. And the global early warning system will be up to date. Okay, I'm still working on this, as you can see. And we are now getting to the bottom of the table as you start to see it appear. Okay, so working systematically and understanding what you're doing is very important. So here we're working on that eLocus3m data file that we downloaded from Plant Village, and we're trying to get rid of all of the duplicates before we add that data to the database in Ramses. And we're using the Numbers app to work on this CSV file. Remember, CSV is a file format that is read by Ramses. Okay, this is different than the backup file that is of the database in Ramses. That's in a different format. Okay, now as you can see, as I come close to the end here, when I tap now on this next delete the row, you will see then you will see no more records. Okay, right, so now there's no more records that are duplicate, but there are records still in this CSV file, but we've hidden them because we filtered them, so we want to unfilter them. So we go again back up to organize, okay, and now we click on the filter tab, okay, and we can simply trash that filter here. So you see there's a very small trash can icon. You can just tap on it, and now you see all of your records appear. Okay, now remember we've hidden a number of columns here, so let's unhide all of these columns. Okay, but before we're going to unhide the columns, we can delete this DK column. We don't need this column anymore, so I select it by tapping on the DK, okay, and then again the down arrow, I can say delete column. Okay, now let's again select the entire table by tapping on the 0 next to the A here. The whole table is selected, okay, and I can simply two-finger tap on that 0, okay, and I can say unhide all columns. You see that? It's about the 6th one down there, unhide all columns. Tap on that, and now I see all of my columns, okay? Now, there's a few other things we can do to help reduce the errors coming into Ramses, okay? And one of those is in the extra coordinates that sometimes are entered into eLocus3m when they should not have been. So we scroll over to the right to these to columns CC, CD, CE, and CF. And here you can see those extra coordinates, 26, 61. You can see them. We need to delete all of those. They should not be there. So the best way to do that is select the first cell in report area coordinate A. So make sure you're in row 2 here, okay? The first cell we're going to select. And then I'm going to scroll down into the column CF to the bottom here. Okay. So the end of the table. And I'm going to select all 4 of those columns, okay? The cells in those columns. So I'm scrolling down, okay, to the bottom. See, you see it's still there. A few more, that's why I scrolled to the bottom. And I'm going to hold the Shift key and then tap on the last cell in CF here. So Shift key, tap. And now you see a green box around those 4 columns of cells. Okay, when you see that, I'm going to then press the delete key on the keyboard. Okay, when I do that, you will see these numbers will be deleted. Okay, and if we go all the way up, you see there's no more numbers in that. Okay, so that's one way to easily clean up. Okay, the other thing you must do, and we will fix this soon in Plant Village, but at the moment you see that in some of the names here in the report location, you see some of the names have punctuation, periods and commas and dashes and these things. This also will mess up the import into Ramses. Okay, so we need to get rid of all of those. So the easiest way to do that is to come back, and we need to hide all of the columns except this report location name. So if I tap on the CJ column and I scroll to the left to the A column and Shift tap on the A at the top, I've selected all of those, and on the right side arrow down I say hide selected columns. Okay, so there's my report location. But now I need to also hide all of the columns to the left side here. So again, I click on the CL column at the CL, so that's selected, and then Shift click on the DJ, so those are all selected. Down arrow and say hide selected columns. Okay, so now you see only one column in my table visible. At this point, when you see only one column, we can go to the Edit menu and we want to select Find. Okay, and then on the right hand side we say Find. Okay, so here's our find. Okay, now if there's already something in that, you want to delete it with the delete key. Okay, and we're going to start finding the punctuation one by one. So we have to find all of the periods, the commas, the semicolons, the colons, the dashes, the underscores, the slashes, and the and sign. Okay, so I'm going to have to do that one by one. I know it's a bit tedious, so I'm going to first type in period here. Okay, and then I'm going to check replace all, because the replace is empty. So in other words, this is how we're going to delete all the periods just in this report location name column. Okay, and you can see in there that they are highlighted, so they're found there. Okay, look on rows 11, 12, and 13. You can see those names have those periods. Okay, and I'm just simply going to say replace all. Okay, and now you see those are no longer in those names. Okay, I come back up here, I delete the period and I put a comma. Okay, and I do replace all. Okay, just like that. Again, I come back up now and I've finished with the commas. I'm going to do semicolon. Okay, On the right hand side here, you see it says not found. So there's no names of semicolon. So I delete the semicolon with the delete key, and I put in colon. Colon not found. Good. Okay. Now, what else do we want to do? We want a backslash. See the backslash? Not found. Good. Okay. We want the and sign. You see the and sign here? Okay. Look, it has been found, huh? Okay, you can see here on the left-hand side in the column and in the name, huh? Again, replace all, and it's going to, instead of S and B, you'll see it'll just say SB. Okay, so now it says SB here. So you've deleted all those ands. Good. Come back up here, tap and delete the and. What else do we need? We need a dash. So the dash, we have some. It says here, to found, okay? Replace all. All right. Come back up here and the underscore, and there's no more underscores. Okay, so we have finished now getting rid of all of those special characters. So you can close this find and replace box by tapping on the red button. Okay, now we're done. Now we're going to, the next step will be, we're going to save all of these changes you've made as a CSV file that then we can open and import into Ramses, okay? But first of all, remember we've hidden so many of these columns. We want to see all these columns again. So again, just tap here in your table with the mouse once, okay, somewhere. Tap on the table, sorry, not in the white spot, on the table here, okay, until you see the CK column and you see our famous little circle icon, okay? Tap once on that circle icon to the left of the CK and above the 1, okay? Tap once with your 2 fingers, sorry, okay? And you're going to say unhide all columns, okay? Unhide all columns. Now we see all of the columns here, okay? And if you want, you can scroll, okay? And there they all are. So all the data from that date period that you've downloaded from Plant Village, but with no duplicate records, with none of those extra coordinates, and with none of the punctuation in the location name. So we're ready to go. Okay, this is a clean file. Okay, and if you look down here, just to see how many records we have. Okay, there are 394 rows. The first row is a header row, so it means we have 393 records, 393, okay? We'll remember that number. So 393 records that we're now going to import into Ramses from the CSV file. So here, this is a numbers file, so we need to export that. You can see in the numbers, look at the file name, it says .numbers, okay? We have to go to the File menu. We say Export to, okay, and you see you have some options here. We're going to choose CSV. CSV, okay. Everything is fine here, so you tap on Next. And it's going to ask you, where do you want to save this file? And we want to save this file in Ramses, okay, eL3mP underscore data folder, okay? And you see the name is already there for you. The country and the from and the to date. And it's .csv, so this is the right format to add to Ramses then. So we say export, okay? Tap on it, export. When we tap on export, it's going to save this file as a CSV format in this folder called eL3mP underscore data. Okay, so here I go tap. Okay, now maybe it already replaces, and maybe it's already exists. Okay, and if you get this message that says already exists, do you want to replace it? You say replace. Okay, replace. All right. Okay, it's done. It's very fast. Now we're done with numbers. Okay, so we're done with the second step here. So we can quit our numbers app. So numbers menu, quit numbers. Okay. And it's going to ask us, do you want to keep this numbers file, huh? Yeah, that's fine. You can keep it. This is as a numbers file, and you see the name at the end of the name says .numbers, okay? You can say save, no problem, save. All right, and it saved it. So here I am in my Ramses, okay? eLocus3m data, okay? Here is my CSV file, and here is my numbers file that I've just made, okay? All right, now it's time to go to Ramses. So we open up Ramses. So we let Ramses start up. Okay, so it starts up fine. And remember, the first thing we must do is make sure that we are working with the latest database, the correct database. So to make sure that, we go to the Customize menu, Options, okay? On the right side arrow, just tap and hold down and select the last one, Locus Tools, okay? Make sure your default country is Iran. Make sure your machine ID is equal to 0. Make sure that your editor is scientific. If it's something else, you choose from the drop-down menu. If it says eLocus3, no, you need to change that to scientific. Okay. These two items are directories you don't have to worry about. Backup on exit should be ticked. Okay. And now we're going to restore the database. So what does this mean? This means that we're going to tell the Ramses application which database it should be using. Okay, so we tap on Restore. Okay, and here we are in the Ramses v4 backups. Okay, and you go down your list will look different than mine. Go down your list to find the latest Iran backup. Okay, and the latest one will be the last one in your list that says Iran. Okay, so here it is here. Iran 2022 04 26 1056. And you see the name, it says .backup. So this is not a CSV file. This is a special format file for Ramses data and Ramses backup. Okay, so now what we're doing is when we select this file, we are connecting the Ramses app with this database. So that means the Ramses app will be using the data in this database for all of its work. Okay, so we have to tell that to the app. So we do that by choosing this backup file, this data, and we tap on Choose. Okay, and it asks you, do you want to restore the database? In other words, do you want to reconnect this database to the Ramses app? We say yes. Okay, and sometimes you will get an error message, which makes no sense, of course. Okay, but don't worry, you just tap on OK. Okay, it'll say that it could not do it. Again, you tap on OK. You get something that says permission denied. Just tap on OK. Don't worry, don't panic. Okay, and try again. So again, tap on the restore button, go down, select your Iran file here, IRN, there it is, 2022 04 26 1056. Say choose, tap on choose. Again, it asks you, do you want to restore the database? You say yes. And now you see it's restoring. It takes some time because you have more than 50,000 records in this database. So it's about almost 4 megabytes big. So it takes just a minute. When it's done, you'll get a message. Okay? The message says database restored successfully. And it's telling you from where. It's restored from the Ramses directory, RV4 backups, and the name of the database. Okay, so this is confirmation message that everything's good. You've done a good job, no worries, and you tap on OK. Now at this point, the Ramses app is connected to that database. Okay, and you see everything is ready here. And when you quit on Ramses and you're connected to the internet, it means it will save a copy of all the changes you made to that database on your laptop, but also to the cloud. All right, so everything's okay here. We tap OK. Now, it's good practice after you've restored a database to go to the Plugins menu, select Ramses v4 Maintenance, Auto Maintenance, and tap on that. And let it run the auto maintenance. It's going to do some fixings, okay? And I generally like to do that 2 times, just to be sure. So again, maintenance, auto maintenance, okay? And this way you can be assured that everything is working between your Ramses app and your database. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to add that eLocus3m data from the CSV file that you worked on and that you saved into the Ramses database, okay? So we have to do this by tapping on Plugins, Locus Tools, Locus Queries, but we're not going to choose Locus Queries. We're going to choose Locus Data Entry, okay? So we tap on Data Entry, okay? You have only one option here, okay. And you should come up with a blank window, okay? In case you do not come up with a blank window and you have some records listed here, then you first need to clean them by tapping on that broom key, okay? And it will ask you if you want to remove them, and you say yes, okay? In our case, it's blank. Everything is good to go. Now, what we need to do is we have to tell Ramses where that CSV file is that we want to use. Okay, so we tap on the first icon here, open eLocus3 files. Okay, so tap on that. Okay, it goes to the directory where we have our eLocus3mPRO data. Okay, if it doesn't, if it goes somewhere else in your Ramses, that's no problem. You find it, find your directory here, highlight it. Okay, and just simply 2 taps to open it. Okay, 2 taps to open it. Okay, and there is your directory at the top, and we have to find that file. So look very carefully, and here is a file in your list. Another way is you can tap on Data Modified column, and you see the arrow here on the right hand side is up. Change it to down, okay, and you can see the latest changes here. And that is the latest CSV file that we want to use, okay? In any case, please make sure you select the correct CSV file, okay? If you select the wrong one, you'll make a mess, okay? So here I'm going to tap once on the file that I want. So this is the new CSV file that I made, Just previously, I got rid of all those duplicates and those coordinates, remember? And I saved it as a CSV file. So this is that data file, okay? And I'm going to say open. When I say open, it's going to ask, do you want to import the data? So at this point, I say yes, and it's going to take some minutes. But there, remember, I said we had 393 records. So there is your 393. That's the 393 records in the CSV file that it is adding it to your window here, okay? It's not putting it into the Ramses database yet, okay? It's first just adding it to the window as an intermediary step, as a temporary step. And then the next step will be to add it to the database, okay? So we have to wait just a few seconds, and you can see the progress here. So it's telling you the number of records that is adding, and you will then see them listed here in the Locus Data Entry window. Okay, so it's just coming up. So always remember to understand what is going on here. Just don't follow instructions blindly with your eyes closed. Okay, so think what is going on here. Okay, we have told Ramses that we want it to add all of those records in a particular CSV file into the application, into the Ramses application. So we selected the correct CSV file, and we said go ahead and add those, and that's what it's doing now. So then it will show us a list of these 393 records, and then at that point we can review the list before we commit to exporting that into the Ramses database. Okay, so it's like a safety intermediary step. Okay, so here we're almost done. You can see it gets closer and closer to 393. Okay, and here it is. Okay, and you see the total here, 393 records. Okay, now if I scroll up and down here, I want to look for any red icons that might appear on the left-hand side next to the record number, next to the row number. Okay, so let me just with the mouse scroll up and down. Okay, now we'll go all the way down. I don't see a single one. Okay, so why is that? Okay, if I were to see a red icon, that would mean that there's a problem with that record and it cannot be imported into the Ramses database. So it's like it's a check to make sure that the data is complete and correct, okay? If I don't see any of those red icons, it means all of that data in each of these records is complete and correct, and there should be no problem entering it into Ramses. This is logical, isn't it? Because if you think about it, what are those changes that you made in the CSV file in the numbers app? Remember, you deleted those extra coordinates and you removed those punctuation characters from the location names. And by doing those two things, you have also cleaned up the data. So in fact, you did three things in that CSV file when you're working on it. You removed the duplicates, and then you cleaned up two different data types, the location name and those extra coordinates. Okay, so here we go. All of this data now, these 393 records, are ready to be added to the Ramses database, the one that you just restored before. Okay, how do we do that? We tap here on the icon called Export Data into Database. It's in the middle row there. It looks like a barrel, just to the left side of all those colored dots. Okay, I'm going to tap once on that. When I tap once, you get a confirmation message asking you, are you sure to export the data into the main database? We say yes, so tap on the yes. And now it's going to export it into the database record by record, and you see the progress there. And because we have 393 records, it will take, an extra minute or two, but it's doing this one by one. Okay, when it's finished doing this, so when that number reaches 393 out of 393, you will then get another window that will pop up that will tell you the results of your export. And of course, we hope that all 393 records will be exported into the Ramses database without any problems. But if there is problems, that results window will tell us about that. Okay? So again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm also trying to fill time as we wait for this to finish. Always try to remember what you're doing and understand logically what you're doing. Don't just follow a set of steps blindly without any understanding. Okay, it's kind of like cooking, huh? You just can't follow the recipe without understanding what you're doing. Same thing with working on the computer and working on Ramses and with the data. So let me review then what we have done. The first thing we did is we went to the Plant Village platform, to the website. You logged in with your administrative user, okay, and you wanted to select the data that you want to add to the Ramses. So you did that by selecting the eL3mPRO data set. You indicated the from and the to date, and then you had listed the data on the platform, which then you exported as a CSV file. Okay, so that's how you got the data. Okay, from the eLocust, the Plant Village platform, and you saved that as a CSV data file to your laptop. Then you opened that CSV data file on your laptop in the Numbers app. After you opened it, in the Numbers app, you wanted to identify and delete the duplicate records, and you entered a special formula to find those records, and then you entered a rule to show only those duplicate records, and then you deleted them one by one. Okay, you can't delete all of them at the same time. You had to do it one by one. Okay. Then when you finished that, you deleted the rule, and again you showed all of the data columns, and you found those columns that had extra numbers in the coordinates A, B, C, D. You deleted them. Okay, and then you found in the location name all of the punctuation characters, and you deleted them. So in this way, you managed to delete all the duplicate records, and then you cleaned up the data. So at that point, it was ready to be saved as a CSV file, because that's the only way that Ramses can read the data is by the CSV format. So you saved your cleaned up data as a CSV file to your laptop in the eLocus3mPRO data folder inside the Ramses folder. And then you're done with numbers. You quit the numbers. And at that point, it was time to add that data to Ramses, which is what we're doing now. You started the Ramses app. Okay, you made sure you're working on the correct database by restoring the latest version. Okay, making sure that the backup on exit is ticked and the machine ID is 0. Then you came here, and this is where we are now. You went to the plugins menu. You said for the data entry, you selected the CSV file that you had made from your laptop. And then you added the data, which is doing now. And then the next step was to then export it into the database, which it is just now finished doing, and you see the results. So here's the total number of records that you started with. It was 393. And inserted 393. So that means each of those 393 records from that CSV file that used to be listed here in the window, all of them were added to the database of Ramses without any problems. Okay, and you see none remain that you have to worry about. Okay, we say okay at this point. Okay, you're done. So you have successfully added the data from the 26th of April to the 12th of May, none of the duplicates and none of the bad data, only the clean data, into the Ramses database. Okay. Now, how do we know that? Let's close that window. Okay. Let's make a map. So layer menu, static layers. Okay. Country boundary. Okay. So here's the country boundary. Let's query that data. So go to the plugins menu, Locus tools, Locus Queries. Okay, let's do it on behavior. Okay, and let's do it for those same dates. So what were the dates? 26th of April, right, to the 12th of May. So there it is, Iran, 26th of April to the 12th of May. We say okay, and we should get 393 records is the result. And if you look in the window here, there you see 393 records. Okay, and of course you can tap on the colored dots here to plot on the map, and you will see their positions in Iran. Now that you have done this, you can close the query window, and when you quit the Ramses, okay, it should save a backup file to your computer and to the cloud. So when we go to the Ramses menu, quit Ramses, and says, do you want to have a backup of the database? Okay, you say yes. and it'll give you a message, database, backup successful, and it tells you where it saved it, and it gives you, you see, look at the name of the file, the year, the month, the day, which is today, and then the time, 14:57 here, and you can see it also here on the top of my computer. And you say OK. And remember, I was connected to the internet when I did that. Okay? Thank you very much.